On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Tony rescues a god and Ethan reimagines Super Mario World. We talk about the week's biggest news and answer your questions. Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, we've got Ethan.
Hey, Tony.
What's going on?
Same as always, recording a podcast on a Saturday night.
That's generally when we record them.
Yeah, a little later than usual, but that's fine. It was worth it.
We got stuck in Destiny for a while.
We got stuck in there for a while, and then we kept going.
Yeah, and then we said, we should probably turn it off and record a podcast and play for like 20 more minutes.
Yeah, that's actually what happened.
So, yeah. I think I hear people yelling outside my house, so I'm hoping that stops before long. I don't know if you guys can actually hear it.
No, we can't, so as long as they're not yelling at you or at your house or your family, I'm going to say it's fine.
As far as I know, they're not.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm going to say it's good.
Do they want to be on the podcast?
I mean, I could go out and ask them, I guess.
That'd probably make them be quiet really quick, or they'd start yelling more.
Could you guys go in your house and record a podcast with us instead of standing out in the yard and yelling? So
have all kinds of fun stories to tell with that.
They're not answering, so I guess we'll just go on without them. So, what have you been playing in this week before Christmas?
Not too much. I mean, I could talk about playing Destiny, but I've done that.
We've talked about Destiny a lot on the show.
Oh gosh, I've done that so much. Although I did like what Cole was doing with the face reface app or whatever that was, where he put both of our faces on Zavala.
Oh yes,
yeah. And it's just weird how it's trying to put your glasses in a frame, but they're not showing up.
I was more disturbed by the Back to the Future one, where you and I were both girls. And...
It's like I saw the first part. I'm like, all right, that's Cole.
I think you were Lorraine.
I was.
And then I was whoever that was sitting behind him.
Unnamed character number 2.
Yeah, Lorraine's friend who nobody knows.
I was at work and I saw that. I just busted out laughing.
Your Cole's density.
I was just laughing at it. I couldn't help it. I was like, all right. I showed it to a coworker. I'm like, all right, my friend's messing around the face app and showed. I don't think she's ever seen Back to the Future though, so it was lost on her.
How can someone not have seen Back to the Future?
I don't know. It's the same way they've never seen Star Wars or Indiana Jones, and I just get sad because I'm like, you kids were in high school and I graduated.
Yeah.
College.
Yeah, I've done that like face swap stuff a little bit. I put my face on Tony Stark, and it was hard to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's just like subtle differences, really, but
like the way my facial hair and his are, it makes our faces look fairly similar. So when you've got most of the head covered by an Iron Man helmet with just a little bit of the face sticking out,
well, yeah,
it was hard to tell the difference between me and Robert Downey Jr.
I've never seen the two of y'all in the same place at the same time.
I mean, I haven't either.
It's a mystery.
So yeah, what have you been playing besides Destiny?
All right, so I've talked about it before, that Super Mario World thing that I've been working on, the Lunar Magic program, where you make your own Super Mario World levels on PC.
Yeah.
That's what I've been messing with. I ended up pulling out the Super Nintendo and testing the game out through the my Super UFO Pro 8 thing. Basically, it's a EverDrive kind of thing.
Okay.
But I mean, that one works better for like ripping games rather than anything else. It's just better to get the EverDrive in this case, which I will do one of these days. But I was testing it out on the actual system, playing it on my TV, and I was like, I don't like the way my level actually plays. And so I actually got into the full revamping mode and thinking, okay, let's change this up and that. So if you look at the level that it was that first test level that wasn't Super Mario 1-1 or yeah, Super Mario Brothers 1-1. It was the actual level I built, not a whole custom thing. So if it that whole thing has been reworked now, it looks I mean, it looks different. It's pretty much the same. There's been subtle changes here and there, and then recoloring done
Mhm.
to better match the flow of what's happening in the environment as you progress through the story.
Okay.
So I have that going now. So I feel better about that first level. I actually made it a little easier to traverse because that first part of it is quite challenging. And once you get past that, then it's just kind of unforgiving at some points. So I've reworked it. It looks a lot better, plays a lot better, and now I feel I can go into the second level on there and make and finish the stuff I have planned on there, which is gonna be. I, I'm trying to find that sweet spot between when I need enemies and when I need puzzle, and what how how far I need to go, which way on those two
Yeah.
scales.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that if you don't, make a lot of games, it's something that you have to just play around with and learn exactly, to how to balance those things.
Yeah, like if I was doing this on Mario Maker, it's like hit a button. Okay, all right, now I'm here. Do this. I failed. Okay, I can see where the jump is. This
Hmm.
one with Lunar Magic, you don't have all that fancy stuff that's been accounted for. It's okay. This didn't work. There's a little trial and error involved, but you can kind of guess at what you need to do to fix it. And it I think it works better in the long run this way, especially when you don't want the restrictions of Mario Maker.
Yeah.
But then again, you have the restrictions of like Super Mario World's programming, and that's a thing to deal with.
It's one of those things that I'm hoping that a lot of people playing in Mario Maker realize that making a good level is not as easy as just putting some things
Oh yeah,
on
like
on and making it work.
yeah, it's just when you like watching someone who's working in Mario Maker. I talk about him quite often when I talk about this. Barb, whenever he's making a thing, it's not uncommon for someone to pop in the chat and say, "Well, why don't you just have a block that has this in there?" And it's like, "Well, I have to make the block, and then I have to tell it what item I want in there
Hmm.
through something." And it's like, well, you can't just throw whatever enemy and have them pop out of a block. I mean, you can do that in Mario Maker. There's a whole level of programming you have to go through if it's not by a default action, or if it's not through like the 16 by 16 map editing or 8 by 8 editing stuff. Either one of those, it's there's a whole lot more involvement on the stuff. But in the long run, you can get some really interesting effects, like having they have the dolphins in Mario World that jump vertically, so you can stand on it and get to higher platforms. Like you can replace that with a Lakitu whenever he's like injured or falling out of the cloud or whatever. You have those jumping out like they're getting injured by falling into lava or something as a replacement on there. I don't know how to do that, but I've seen it done, so that's pretty cool. You can't do that in Mario Maker, so that's always a big bonus in my opinion. But I do have the idea now for where to go from. Like, I want to start out with like, all right, you're gonna have like the squishy enemies, and then when you get to the level two, it's like, all right, fight your way through here, and then you go through that pipe, and then you're down in that area that I have set up.
Yeah.
That area needs to be more puzzle based. So it's gonna be puzzle based while also trying to be a oh geez the side scrolling what are those called where you're locked in where you're stuck with the screen scroll.
An auto scroller.
Auto scroller, thank you. And I know speedrunners hate those, but
Yeah.
for that area, it's gonna have to be a auto scroller because of the way I want that area set up specifically.
Yeah. you've got a very specific idea in mind that I think auto scrolling is the only way to really do it the way you want to do it.
especially from the original source that the idea came from. Oh man. I also need to look into how to rip music from games myself, so that way I can get them in the right program to work for this as well. So that'll be a fun thing to learn as well.
Yeah, because I'm
And I also grabbed sprite editing program. If I can figure that out, then that's also going to help with a future project that's unrelated to Lunar Magic. But Lunar Magic will probably be something I use to rework
mhm.
to actually rework Super Mario World to play for this project that I have in mind. So that's really interesting to me that I can
Is
do
that a
that.
game we've talked about before?
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're talking about.
You do, yes. And if I do it through that, then I can actually get that put onto a cart and play it on a system.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I will not bore people with more details on this because it's a little hard to explain what I'm doing without giving it away. And if I'm showing stuff off, it's just weird.
Yeah, you don't want to give away, and if you're working on like puzzle stuff, you don't want to give away the
Right, right.
solution.
It's like watching Barb making Grand Poo World 3. He knows he's showing off levels and stuff on there, and he
Mhm.
doesn't want people to see all the little tips and tricks or how to beat stuff. So he's very selective about what he shows off on there. So you get some cool stuff you get to see, but at the same time, it's like that game is going to be really tough just with what I already can see that you can do on there. I'm also going to try to avoid the Kaizo block garbage that people like to do.
Oh gosh, yeah, I hate Kaizo levels.
I might try to toss in a single shell jump. Oh my gosh, why is that so hard to say? I might toss in one of those just because why not?
Mhm.
Those aren't impossible. Even you can do that, I'm sure. So I might
You'd be
toss in one of
surprised.
those.
I never learned any of the like really tricky movement stuff with Mario and Mario Odyssey. So like any of the times you see people like tossing Cappy and doing multiple jumps and things like that, never figured out how to do any of that stuff. My kids can do it, but I
It took me a
never.
while to figure out how to do it after watching that ghost race against those turtles. That you when you get to race the turtles in Mario Odyssey, then you come back later for a rematch and you have the gold turtle shell guy. I
Yeah.
followed him just to see where his pathing because it was obviously the optimum path. And it's like the first time I see him, it's over in that garden area, and he just jumps over a huge gap. I'm like, how did he do this? So I had to go online and look up the trick for how to do that. I was like, oh, and that kind of led to me beating all the other levels quite easily,
Man.
just because you had to learn how to do a cap throw jump thing on there. So man, but yeah, Mario Maker Lunar Magic stuff's coming along nicely.
Nice.
Now, if only I would get the second level done instead of redoing the first level I made.
One level at a time.
Yeah, it just means I'm probably never going to be happy with it because I can keep improving it.
I'm sure everybody that's ever written a book, made a TV show, made a game, they always can find things that they could do better. You're never going to make a perfect game in your eyes.
True. Although I did have a happy accident when messing with a background element the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's like a gold flashy background or a gold flashy texture thing you can lay over stuff.
Mhm.
And I was changing background colors and I chose that one by mistake. And so the whole background has that coin effect with the gold flash. And it's like, if I do this right, it'll look like the area is kind of on fire.
Interesting.
So I might try to use that somewhere. It'll be a kind of a pain on the eyes done incorrectly, or even if done correctly. But we'll see.
I don't know that anything could be like harder on the eyes than like Mega Man Rain or the waterfalls in Mega Man.
Yeah, maybe.
Those are really harsh water textures.
Yeah, kinda. I kind of see it. But I mean, that's pretty much all for me. Just messing with the Mario stuff, unless you really want to talk Destiny more.
I don't know that we need to talk a ton of Destiny.
Okay, well, moving on. What have you been playing?
Let's see. I have been playing. Well, I've been playing Immortals: Phoenix Rising. Because the game is fantastic. Like I
Mm-hmm.
am loving everything about that game now that I've figured out the controls and all of that. Um, I did, however, this week almost have to put the game away and never touch it again.
Oh no.
Because I think it was this week that all of the that Stadia finally got their Ubisoft Plus stuff. The Ubisoft Plus
Yeah.
into Stadia this week,
Yeah.
so I can access all of that stuff on my phone now, which I couldn't do with Luna.
Mm-hmm.
Even though also this week Luna announced Android rollout as well. It's just that my phone is not on the list of compatible devices for Luna. So I thought, okay, once I got all the Ubisoft stuff linked together, I thought this is great. I can play the game on my phone now if somebody's using the TV or whatever. Um, so I booted it up and it said new game. And that was it. That was the only thing there was. It was new game and then load save. But it's not just load your save, it is load from the internet. It wants you to pull the cloud save down.
Right.
Um, The problem is I didn't have any cloud saves uploaded because I didn't realize you had to manually upload the cloud saves for Immortals for it to be able to transfer to another uh, device,
Oh.
which seemed weird because I didn't have to do that for Luna. Like it just pulled everything straight from the PC version. Fine, no problem. Um, so I went back to the Luna version, uploaded my most recent save, and went over and played on Stadia for a little bit. It worked. It was fine. Um, but that was, I think, on Thursday, and I put the game away. I went back over to the Luna version because that's the primary place that I'm playing, and I put 4 or 5 more hours into the game over there. And earlier today, I booted up the Stadia version again, and it didn't pull my save from the cloud like I thought it was going to. It loaded in that most recent save on Stadia and then auto saved it to my account.
Oh. Oh.
So I went back over to the Luna version. I thought, oh no, this is not good. I should be much further in the game than I am right now because
Mm-hmm.
I had beaten 2 other bosses. There was like a mini boss rush type thing that I had done, and I had unlocked another section of the map, and none of that stuff was there. Um, I thought,
Yeah, you were
oh,
telling me about that, and that just sounded quite horrible.
this is bad. So I went back over to the Luna version to see if I could upload the most recent save, and it was not there at all. And I was incredibly frustrated. I was like, this is a lot of time. 4 hours of time is not something that you can just easily get back. So
In
I
most
thought, oh,
cases, no. Yes, it is not.
fantastic. I am not going to be able to finish this game now because I'm not going to go back and do 4 hours or
It,
4.5 hours worth of stuff again.
yeah, that's a real easy way to leave a bitter taste in your mouth and never touch a game again, or that game
Exactly.
specifically.
So I turned the game off. I walked away and was like, okay, that's it. I'm done with Immortals. I'm not going to play it again. But I booted it back up and I thought, okay, I'm just going to look and see. The Luna version had a ton of different save files that were there. And in that list of stuff, I found one that was right before the most recent boss I had fought, which meant I'd only lose about an hour of time. So I booted up that save. I was like, okay, this will work. I fought that boss, killed it within like 5 minutes because I knew exactly what to do, and was like, okay, I can deal with this. This is fine. So I played the game for 45 minutes or so, got back to exactly where I was
Mm-hmm.
before I had lost the save, and
Okay.
ended up finding in the process of all of this another section of or another environmental puzzle that I had missed in the previous thing, because I was trying to clear out as much of this section of the map before I went on to the next area as I could. And so I ended up getting that all of that stuff back, found all of the power-ups, all of the experience stuff, all of the upgrades that I had before. And so losing an hour of time was much more palatable. I was like, I've done, this plenty of times before. There have been games that I've lost an hour of time in, no big deal. But I was really glad I had found that save, because I am enjoying the game so much. Like, I am having so much fun playing this game. And it was going to, like, break my heart to have to put the game away and just not come back to it for a while. Because 4 hours of time, that's the amount of time that, like, I don't have time to do 4 hours worth of stuff that I've already done, 2
Yeah.
days ago.
Yeah, it's really annoying losing that amount of time.
That would have been the type of thing that I turn the game off, and maybe 6 months from now, I come back to it and I start playing the game again. But very, very glad I found that save. And uh, I've gotten to the point where I've unlocked all of the major powers that you get in the game. I think there's one that I'm still missing. It's where Phoenix puts a shield up in front of her and just charges through everything. So, like, if there's a bunch of
Nice.
enemies on there, you just do this, like, bull rush through them all, doing a bunch of damage at the same time. So,
Sounds
uh,
awesome.
this boss fight that I did, it was against a harpy. There are harpies in the game that are, about the size of Phoenix, and they're flying around. This one was like 4 times that size, so it was huge. The first time I fought this boss, I actually had to do it like 6 or 7 times before I finally got through and beat them. And then after I had done that, I unlocked one of the other godly powers, which is this, like, huge hammer that you smash down on the ground, and it does like 500 points of damage every time it hits something.
Oh, cool.
It also does a stun effect in a small area around you, so it sends out the shockwave, and it'll stun anything that's close to you. I went and got that before I did the boss fight this time. Made the boss fight way easier.
Yeah, I imagine so.
And then the mini bosses, after you beat the harpy, whose name I can't remember what it is.
We'll call him Steve.
You have to do this, like, mini boss rush thing against 4 legendary beasts. It's like a cockatrice, a lion, a bear, and there's one other thing that I had already done before, and I can't remember what it is. So those mini bosses also much easier this time around, because I had that hammer attack. Because that hammer attack will also, if they're in the middle of one of their, like, really powerful attacks, you can interrupt it and stun them for a second, so you don't have to worry about trying to dodge out of the way. So it's really nice if you see that animation starting up to just trigger that hammer, smash their head, do 500 points of damage, and stun them for about half a second, so you can kind of recover and get into a better position to attack them. So I have rescued Aphrodite, who is the first of the 5 gods that you end up rescuing in the game. I
Only
think
4 more to go.
the next one I'm going after, I think, is Ares. So
God
that
of
is,
War.
yes, that is my next target, is over in his area. And also the area, each of the gods has their own separate area, and they're all very different from each other. So the part where I've been doing the Aphrodite missions is all nice, and it's green and flowery, and lots of waterfalls, and it's a pretty place to be. The place I'm going now, it's the exact opposite of that. It is like Death Mountain, caves everywhere. There's lava and lions, and which are not in the other areas of the game. So
Lions and tigers and bears.
The bears are in Aphrodite's section.
Yeah,
Lions
I
and
recall you getting beat by one.
yeah. So, oh, bears are easy to do now. Like I can kill bears with a hand tied behind my back at this point. But I also have gotten to the point where, in that environmental puzzle that I was doing that we couldn't figure out what to do. I had to slow down the time and you shoot the arrows and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
and then the next thing was to fight the Cyclops.
yeah.
And the video that you'd looked up to tell me what I needed to do, it was a blue Cyclops, whereas I was fighting a red Cyclops, and I found out that's because that person, the video that you were watching, that person had progressed further in the game when they
So it
did
was
that.
matching his level at the
So
time.
yeah, I'm now fighting. I'm finding a lot of blue enemies, blue level enemies now instead of just the red level ones. So
Okay.
I've upgraded my abilities and powers enough that I'm starting to fight stronger enemies, and they're considerably stronger than the ones I was fighting before. Where, like, a boar that's a red level, I can beat it in 2 hits, I think, and a blue one takes 8 or 9. So they're considerably harder to kill now that some of them have leveled up to the blue level of power. So, and I think I'm 15 hours into the game. But I now know how to manage the save files, so hopefully that won't happen again. Um, and I also did some testing with some other games as well with Ubisoft. I think there's 4 games that I've played a ton and tried testing them all out. It's Immortals, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, The Division 2, and then like Family Feud.
Hmm.
And I've found out that Ubisoft's save file stuff that's supposed to be, pretty seamless, isn't necessarily so seamless. You can actually go to their website and it'll give you a list of which games have full cross save capability, which ones have partial, which ones don't have anything at all. Um, Family Feud, it doesn't matter. I cannot transfer a save for anything. So like I've put 10 or so hours and unlocked a bunch of cosmetic stuff in Family Feud on the Xbox. I have none of that on the PC version of the game. Uh,
Hmm.
Immortals is manual upload and download, so you have to manually transfer your save every time you switch platforms. Uh, and then Assassin's Creed is also the same way. You have to manually move your save back and forth
I,
for
I,
that.
I guess it's kind of nice you have to do it manually, but at the same time, like other
But
games that have similar things, you don't have to do it manually. They just kind of do it, but the option exists for the manual one.
the Division 2, it just pulled it, and I had everything that I had on the PC version of the game, playing it on Stadia. Uh, I was in the middle of the mission that I remember stopping that game on. So the Division 2 pulls everything properly. Some other games you have to do it manually, and then some it's just like, nope, you're not getting your save. You have to play it on this one platform if you want to continue to have all of your stuff. So it's a little disappointing that it's not just a complete universal. If I boot up the game, no matter what I'm playing it on, my save file is there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I've been a little spoiled with some games and with like the Xbox stuff where the Xbox Play Anywhere stuff, it's constantly syncing your save file every time you turn on the game. It doesn't matter what version you're playing, you have the most recent save file. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's handy as well. I don't know.
but that is what I have been playing. I've been playing Immortals Phoenix Rising, and I will continue to be playing Immortals Phoenix Rising as long as my save file doesn't disappear because the game is fantastic. I have enjoyed every minute of that game after like the first 3 hours when I fought the controls. So
3 hours to figure it out, so you've actually got like 13 hours of actual gameplay.
which has been 13 hours of really great, really fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
really great, really fun QA.
so, but that is it for me. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about the news. All right. So this week, CD Projekt Red has been in the news a
Oh
lot.
man, have they been in the news?
It's been a bad week for CD ProjektRed this week.
uh,
Start off with this.
no. We'll
there's
start with first of all, they finally released Cyberpunk 2077,
Yeah, they did.
and people were excited. Wait, didn't that come out last week?
I think it came out last week. Yeah.
Either way, game came out. People were happy until they got to play the game.
So
Well,
they started playing the game,
a select group of people were not happy when they got to play the game.
and it's mainly the last generation consoles, the PS4 and
Standard
the Xbox.
PS4 and standard Xbox One. Apparently, the game is not really well optimized for those consoles.
No, I saw some videos of like N64 level, and even maybe a little worse than that, level visuals in the game. And then it's full of bugs and crashes, and I've heard tons of people talking about hard crashes that it completely drops the game.
Man, it's been so bad that I think Xbox is giving out refunds or something on there, and Sony
Yes.
has actually gone and pulled the game from PSN.
Like you can't get it on either system, PS4 or PS5.
Right. Wait, really?
I
PS5?
think I think that's I may be wrong,
You know
but
what? I'm
I thought it
checking
was
that right now.
I thought it was they completely took it off of the store, but it may just be listed. It may just be limited to the PS4 version. But yeah, it was things like I saw a video of people's cars just freaking out and like going under the ground or spinning around in circles, and uh, I saw one video today of a person who was driving a motorcycle down the road, and then all of a sudden the game hit a loading screen, and the person is falling from space.
They really do happen like that.
So
Yeah, it's not on PS. It's not on PSN at all. So PS4, PS5, nothing.
yeah, they completely took the game
Ugh.
off the store, and they're offering refunds. There was a little bit of drama with the refund situation as well, because apparently CD Projekt Red had worded it in a way that made people think that you could just go to the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store, and get a refund that way. Um,
And that was not the case
that
until
was
Sony
not
got
the
involved.
And then Sony was the first one to say, yes, we will give full refunds for the game. Doesn't matter how long you've played it, whatever. If you want a refund, you can have one. They took the game down. Microsoft then a few days later started saying, we'll give refunds as well. They still have the game up for sale. You can still buy it.
Yeah, because at this point you know what you're in for. I mean, if you know it's a bad game and you're like, oh, I got to buy this, then they probably have a warning on there too if you're buying it at this point.
And it does work better on the newer consoles. It's still not a perfect game. There's still a lot. It was not ready to come out. I think that's very clear at this point.
Yeah, the developers have actually come out and said they were being rushed by what the what's it called?
Investors.
Yeah, those guys were pushing and making them have to force it out.
Yeah.
So this game that we've been hearing about for what 7, 8 years now.
It's been in development for 8 years.
There were people being born that are now old enough to be like. Well, I had a good analogy, but that wouldn't work because they're not old enough for that stuff.
The thing about it is that this game was in development for the PS4 and the Xbox One, and it just doesn't work on those systems. It's apparently it runs pretty decently on PC, not at high settings for most people. You're gonna have to turn the settings down. But I've seen a lot of people this week talking about actually picking up the game on Stadia and playing it there, because apparently it runs really well on Stadia. Like it's using the PC version of the game.
As it should.
But I've heard fewer complaints about the Stadia version of Cyberpunk than any of the other platforms.
the game actually runs on Stadia.
And a lot
It's
of
the
people are
one
like,
win Stadia is getting.
well, the thing is, it is one of those things that could bring a lot of positive, uh,
What
press and reactions to Stadia because people are they just want to play the game, and it ends up
what if
Stadia is
this
the
is
best way to
just
play the game.
a coup by Google to get people on Stadia?
I don't know that Google would go that well. Maybe they would.
Maybe. So
Um,
yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. It's got some issues. So think before you buy it.
yeah, definitely
If you can get a physical copy of the PS4 version, I would highly suggest. If you get
not.
it, I would highly suggest shelving that and not opening it ever, because that's going to be a piece of gaming history probably to talk about.
Yeah,
It's like this game is so bad on the base level.
I'm assuming that they will eventually re-release the PS4 and the Xbox One versions of the game in a better working state. I would assume. Maybe
Well,
not. Maybe
at least current consoles. I'm gonna say last gen probably they're probably gonna try to work something to make it work, but I wouldn't be too hopeful on that.
it's going to be one of those things where if you have a physical version of the game, uh, it's going to be worth a lot of money because you're not going to be able to get it on the PS4. That would be crazy to think. The game
Yeah,
came out, was so bad, and
I'm betting
then
there's quite a few physical copies out there, so it's probably not gonna be worth as much as you think.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know.
uh, but to carry along with the bad news for CD Projekt Red, Devotion, a
It's a
PC horror game or something.
Is it developed by a Taiwanese company? Is
It
that
is Red Candle Games, I think is what they were called. Uh, I'm confirming that. Yeah, it was Red Candle Games. Uh, they originally made this game a couple of years ago, or they tried to release it on Steam a while back. I don't know, a couple of years ago. It seems like at this point, it might have been earlier this year. A
Mhm.
lot's happened. I don't remember, but
The game is not new.
uh, when it originally tried to come to Steam, the I think it was China. Someone in China found something comparing the was it prime minister or president over was it whatever
Uh,
the I think it's the prime minister is what it is in China. Someone was comparing him to Winnie the Pooh, and it's like something just in the code. Not I want to say it was just in code, not something you find in the game when playing by your normally. I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't gotten to play the game because China. Just throwing that out there right now. But apparently it struck a chord with a bunch of people in China or something.
there is actually a piece of art in the game that
Oh,
is,
okay. So it is in the game. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, I've learned something. Great. So, yeah, there's a piece of art comparing Prime Minister China to Winnie the Pooh. And that made China mad.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they don't have a good relationship with Taiwanese, whatever,
No, no,
to
no, no.
begin
They
with, anyway. So that game got review bombed to the point where Steam said, "All right, we're not releasing this game."
Steam pulled it from the store.
So all right, that happens. Kind of sucks. Uh, I don't know where CD Projekt Red came in. I guess they were the just producers to help release the game.
No, it's just that they wanted it on the store.
Okay. So they wanted it on GOG, Good Old Games, and so on, jeez, I think it was Wednesday. It was December 16th, which was
Yeah,
a
that was
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yep.
Sometime in the morning, Red Candle Games tweeted. I hope this is not playing audio. Oh, thank goodness it's not. Red Candle Games tweeted out that they're going to publish Devotion on Friday, the 18th, on Good Old Games. Be like $17, and they're like really excited because they're excited because they're getting to release the game to a whole audience that's been wondering about this game for a while. They're
Mhm.
and then all the people that were happy about it were like, oh my gosh, and then Good Old Games, being the hero here, getting some good publicity from that. About 5 hours later, Good Old Games comes out and is like, after listening to the many complaints of the gamers or whatever, we decided to not release Devotion.
Yeah.
So, uh, speculation was they're just caving to China's influence.
Yeah, and
Because I can't think of any gamers that would complain about a game that they haven't been able to play.
well, I mean, people do that all the time.
Well,
But
true, but I mean, like in mass, I don't know that it's like I like the more I've read into the story, like I learned like there's like a 50 cent, a group of people that they're called the 50 cent uh, online posting team or something like that. I don't know if they're
Mhm.
like paid 50 cents per post they do to try to give negative reviews to stuff that's not pro China or something, but apparently that's a thing. And like if you don't uh, say good stuff or like try to push down stuff that's negative towards China, you don't get like better stuff in China or something. I don't know. There's like a lot of weird things about that, and I mean I don't know anything about the China economy other than it can be kind of harsh at times, and other times it can be kind of cool. But I don't know. It just seems kind of scary the influence they have over this stuff.
Yeah, um, it is. I haven't read a ton into this, so I don't know a lot about the reasons that it's been pulled or whatever.
I want to
Um,
say it was actually a publisher and Good Old Games and a publisher decision at the same time on this one.
mhm.
Whereas Red Candle, they're just sad that the game isn't coming out.
Yeah, and the sad thing is the game is not really. It's a horror game. It's not a political game. It's not a political statement. It is a horror game
In fact,
where
that piece of art in question has been removed from the
yeah,
game, and it's still not allowed. But yeah, it's just a horror game. It's not a political statement. It's not like free Hong Kong or anything to do with that
yeah.
sort of thing.
I'm not
Uh,
a big fan of anybody censoring any media over governmental pressure, regardless of the government in question.
yeah. Oh,
So,
while I was trying to look up stuff on this, I was trying to find Good Old Games Twitter account with the at GOG, and there's this at GOGCOM,
mhm.
and because there's a at GOG already, and a lot of people are just complaining at that Twitter account. I was like, oh,
Oh man,
it was kind of a hilarious little thing going on for a while.
yeah.
It's like these people, they're too dumb to get the right Twitter account, and that Twitter account's not correcting any of them. They're probably like, why are we so popular all of a sudden?
I'll take the popularity. So, so yeah, it's not been a very good week for CD Projekt Red. So,
Yeah, so we hope they can start feeling better about stuff after this week. The downside to the good old games thing is the same day that they canceled is the same day they decided to announce their like Christmas sale or something.
mhm.
Like even I was mad at that point. I was like, no, this is dumb. Delete this email because I can't buy Devotion that I wasn't gonna buy anyway. I'm mad because like Markiplier can't buy it and I can't watch him play it.
There you go. So I got mad at EA and Microsoft this week because on the day that EA Play was supposed to come to the PC, they delayed that until next year.
How dare they? I mean,
I was gonna
it's
play
just been disappointment after disappointment
I
this
was gonna play
week.
Jedi Fallen Order on PC, but now I can't because I gotta wait till next year for the dumb EA Play stuff, even though it's on Xbox. I don't know. They didn't talk about why they're delaying it. They didn't say anything. They're just like, it's not coming out till next year. So sorry. Sorry about that.
Steve's not over here to push the on button. We're sorry.
So yep, I'll just have to wait a little while to play Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah,
Even though I can play it on the Xbox. I have it on the Xbox. I just haven't played it on there.
It's like playing
Uh,
a Dark Souls kind of game. Kind of.
kind of.
Kind of.
Nintendo was in the news a lot this week.
Really?
Yes, for much more positive reasons.
Oh, thank goodness, because we have a lot of bad stuff this week already.
Last week it was Nintendo dealing with the bad publicity. This week they surprise announced an indie showcase,
Okay.
and that was on Tuesday, I believe.
Really? Gosh,
They,
seemed like it was later in the week, and I missed it either way.
yep. So yeah, Tuesday they did a 15-minute, indie world. They call them indie world now. They're not nindies anymore.
No,
Even though
they're nindies. That word was
I
so
like
much better.
I like the Nindy name.
They probably
Uh,
haven't called it Indie World because someone complains like, "Oh, it seems like you own our
yeah,
game at this." Anyway,
maybe.
carry on.
Uh,
I'll stop
they announced
interrupting.
they announced quite a few
Starting now.
games. Some of them that I thought genuinely thought were already on the Switch, but apparently not. And two of those games were Spelunky 1 and 2.
Ooh.
Both of those games will be coming in the summer, so you have to wait a little while for these games. But Spelunky 1 and 2 both will be coming in the summer to the Switch.
Yeah, I
Uh,
could have sworn Spelunky 2 would have already been out on there.
I thought both of these games were already on the Switch. I swear I had seen them in the eShop at some point, but I guess not.
I think Spelunky 1 was on a Wii U originally, though, wasn't it?
I think so. I think so. Then there is another an action brawler from a company called Playfellow. It's called Fistifluffs, which is you play as a cat and you beat up a bunch of things as a cat.
Okay, I gotta look this up.
They went all
Fist of
in with the cat puns.
Fluffs.
So if you think the cat puns in Monster Hunter are bad, they were nothing compared to the cat puns in Fist of Fluffs.
Oh my gosh, this looks adorable.
So following that, there was a game called Very Very Valet, which it felt or seemed very like Crazy Taxi-ish. You play as a valet, and you're parking cars and dropping them off, and doing valet type work in all sorts of crazy situations.
I
Uh,
okay.
the next game they showed off was another beat 'em up called Tunche, which takes place in the Amazon rainforest and is actually being developed by a developer in Peru.
Oh,
Uh, it's
cool.
it's a hand drawn game. It looks really pretty.
Ooh,
Um,
this sentence right here has got my attention.
the main character from A Hat in Time is also
Yes.
playable in the game,
And
and it will be
cool.
co-op.
Oh man, I have interest in this game now.
The game will be out in March. It looks really good. Like I went back after watching this Indie World showcase. I was like, there's some interesting announcements, but nothing that really just is like I have to play this. But going back and I watched it a second time, and Tunche looks really good. That's probably one that is semi high on my list at this point. But then the one that came after that really got my attention because I thought just like another game that has come out in the past, I thought this was like a remake of Ninja Gaiden, but it's not. Like the NES version of Ninja Gaiden,
Okay,
and
yeah,
that's
tough
not the
game.
case. It's being developed by Yacht Club Games. It's called Cyber Shadow, and it very much. If you've seen The Messenger, if you've seen that original NES Ninja Gaiden, uh, it looks like that. It is a side-scrolling platformer. You play as a ninja, and
It has been shown off before, but this was just I guess more of a final look since the game is expected to release next month.
yeah, the game comes out January 26th, and it will have amiibo support. So
Oh my goodness! Put that Shovel Knight amiibo on there. What's gonna happen?
Mhm. I'm
You
hoping you
unlock
can play.
Shovel Knight at that point.
We got another cat pun themed game or filled game
Yes.
called Calico, which is all about running a cat cafe.
Yeah. Like, do you clean the tables off by jumping up there and swatting the glasses down?
I don't think so.
Well,
I don't think you're playing a jerk cat.
well, I don't care anymore. What's the next game?
What is the next game? A game called Alba, a wildlife adventure.
Eh,
You play as a young child working your way around an island, cleaning it up and taking care of animals.
isn't that called Animal Crossing?
No, no. In Animal Crossing, you run around hitting all the animals with shovels
Isn't that
or
called
axes.
Alba: A Wildlife Adventure?
No, it's called Pets with a Z.
Eh.
Ubisoft is getting back into the pet simulator game. No, no, that is not happening.
What's this next game here, Tony?
The next game is called Nocia.
I'm
It's
glad you said that correctly because I could not.
it's a mystery game that the developers say will take you between 5 and 15 minutes to finish.
It's spelled with a G on the start of that, by the way.
Yes, like Ganosia, and they may have actually said that. I don't remember, but it may be Ganosia.
I would have said the way you said it originally. That's why I was like, I wonder if that's how it's actually said.
Um,
Terrifying yet exciting game where no two games will ever be the
yeah,
same.
you'll be able to play through the game, hundreds of times, and it'll be different every time.
I
Um,
accept that challenge.
so, another game called Happy Game, which is a psychedelic horror game where you play as a young boy having horrific nightmares. And
Okay.
you also solve puzzles to escape the nightmares.
Because it's quite happy.
Yes, that's exactly what I'd think from a game called a Happy Game. It
This
comes out in the spring.
this next game here.
The
I
next game, I swear, was also on the Switch, but apparently not, and it's Super Meat Boy Forever.
it is the weirdest thing knowing that this game still has not come out.
Well, you don't have to wait long because it'll be out on December 23rd.
About time.
So you will be able to
Gosh.
play Super Meat Boy Forever on the Switch right before Christmas. I think it's got 700 levels, something like that.
It's got a lot.
Uh, I'm assuming everybody knows what Super Meat Boy is at this point. It is punishingly hard, super precise platforming. Uh, it's the kind of game that will break mini controllers.
Well said. The next one is Grindstone. Did I say that right? Grindstone?
Yes, Grindstone.
Um, Looks like you rack up combos, take out enemies in particular order to collect previous stuff. Wow, this game sounds complicated. And trade those in
It's
for new weapons and gear.
it's like a match 3 style game.
Okay, I've lost interest.
And it originally came out on Apple Arcade.
My interest just dropped even lower.
So
If you told me it was Candy Crush with a different skin, I uh,
no, it's not Candy Crush, but it is a
it's
match 3
it's
puzzle
not Candy
game.
Crush, but it's Candy Crush.
It's pretty close to Candy Crush. Then they showed off a quick little montage of some other games that they didn't go into a ton of details on. A game called When the Past Was Around, Cosmocrats, Hoa, Hazel Sky, Trash Sailors, and Finding Paradise.
Cool.
Uh, so yeah, I don't remember a lot about any of those. But then, of course, they did the whole, because every presentation has to have it.
The
They start
stinger
to
on the
close out
end.
they start to close out the show, and then something happens, and they're like, "Hold on, we got one more thing to announce." And when this one was happening, they were doing their, thanks for watching, blah blah blah. An alarm started going off, and they announced that Among Us was coming to the Switch
Cool.
that day.
Cool.
So $5 you can get Among Us on the Switch right now. It is a timed console exclusive for the Switch. It'll be out later that day. Microsoft actually tweeted out that it would be coming to Game Pass on the Xbox next year. So,
Okay.
it is currently out on Game Pass for PC right now. You can play it on there. It is also on Switch. I think it's $5 regardless of where you get it from. It's free on mobile, so if you want to play it and you don't want to spend any money, you can pick it up on mobile. But on Steam, it's $5. It's on Steam. It's on Game Pass for PC, and it's on Switch now. So, and it has full crossplay with every platform, so it doesn't matter where you're playing. You can play Among Us with people online.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's available now on so many different platforms, we had the thought this week that maybe for our Wednesday stream coming up, that we do a community night where we all play Among Us.
I will be playing on PC.
So I will also be playing on PC.
You can play this from your Switch with us, or you can even play it from your mobile device,
Yep.
like your phone. Which I think it's free to play on mobile.
It's free to play on mobile.
With ads. We will be making use of Discord because I am not gonna mess with chat on that thing at all.
Well, I think we can put a link to the Discord server in the show
We definitely
description.
will. So yeah, we'll have a special room set up in Discord. Make sure you have hotkeys set up so you can deafen and or deafen and mute yourself. As two different keys on that thing. Especially if you're using like a PC or something, just because of the way the rules will have set up when we play.
So we will be playing 8:30 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, the 23rd. So what is it? Yes.
Yeah, that should be the 23rd.
Yeah. I know it's close to Christmas, but
Christmas Eve.
it is Christmas Adam, as we call it around our house.
Eve squared.
So, so yeah, we are going to have a community Among Us night. I have never played the game. It'll be the first time I am playing. So it should be fun. I think you can have up to 10 people in a game.
Yes.
So those will be first come, first serve if we get more than 10 people. But join us because I'd love to have a full group playing the game on Wednesday night. So
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Actually getting to play with people and not being in a random room as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things. This seems like the kind of game I will never play with random people.
I cannot stress this enough. Never play Among Us in the public rooms. It is horrible. It was also really easy for a virus to get around in that a while back too. So
Really?
yeah, they like even the developers like stick to private rooms.
I had not heard that.
It was a political based virus at the time too. The guy responsible did not feel any remorse about it either.
No, most people that do stuff like that don't, I think. So, that wasn't it though for Nintendo. They also had
No way.
during the Game Awards, they announced that Sephiroth was coming to the Switch. And then this week, I think it was on Friday, maybe, or was it Thursday?
It was Friday.
It was. Ms. Sakurai did his Mr. Sakurai Presents and showed off the character. It was like 20 minutes long or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Went into tons of detail about the character, and also that same day, they announced that I think he's available on the 23rd as well. So you'll be able to buy the character from the eShop that day. But if you boot up Smash Brothers and you play, there's a mini quest thing that if you finish it and you beat Sephiroth at the end, you can actually unlock him a week early.
Nice.
So
He's got to be a really challenging enemy in that case.
I don't think it is actually.
Oh, that sucks. Just giving away awards now.
So I think some people
Back in my day, we had to play Ninja Gaiden blindfolded on an NES.
Oof. The people that can do that are impressive.
Oh, they really are.
So, yeah, Sephiroth, he has a really long sword, and they added a bunch of Final Fantasy stuff to the game with him.
Yeah, they got a lot more Final Fantasy VII music in there now.
I think there are there's 3 or 4 Final Fantasy Mii Fighter costumes. It's Tifa, Barrett, Aerith. Maybe that was it for the Final Fantasy characters.
Maybe
Tifa, Barrett, Aerith. I think that's it. But then they also announced that Gino was coming to the game as a Mii Fighter costume as well. So the internet was very sad after
yeah, that was like Nintendo saying that we've been defeated.
Like
Not Nintendo, but us, the gamers, have been defeated.
They got that out of the way early too. That was like one of the first things they announced was that Gino was a Mii Fighter costume, and
he wasn't even a good Mii Fighter costume like the ones they showed off, or the mock-ups were originally. So it's even sadder.
It's not like Sans where it looks like the character. It is just, put a Gino hat and a cape on your Mii Fighter, and
basically just have a puppet skin on there. Ew.
Yeah. So,
Tony, give us some good news before we end the show.
The last thing was they also had a surprise direct this week, but they didn't show off a single game. Actually, I guess that's not entirely true.
Well, I mean, it kind of is, but kind of isn't. So
there were no video games shown off during the direct.
That's crazy. That's impossible.
They had a 15-minute direct about Super Nintendo World in Japan.
Ooh.
Which is the Universal Studios amusement park themed around Mario. And it looked so cool. Like, there was so much cool stuff, and there's so much interactive stuff that you can do in the park. And like my favorite thing was the one spot that you wear these bracelets that you can bring home, that you have to like buy them while you're at the park, and you bring them home, and those bracelets act as an amiibo. So I'm assuming, like, if you have a Luigi bracelet, it turns into a Luigi amiibo, and you can use it.
You have to buy the full set the first time you go.
Yeah, you're gonna have to if you want everything. But you wear this bracelet around, and you'll see these like icons on different places on the walls or around the park, and you can interact with those things by holding the bracelet up to it. And like the one that they showed off that I thought was really fun was like a thing where there's a pipe up on a hill, and you'll see a Koopa Troopa shell going back and forth through the pipe, and you hold the bracelet up to the thing on the wall, and you can actually make the Koopa Troopa shell jump up through a pipe that's going vertically and hit a coin block above it.
That sounds awesome.
It like, there is so much stuff about this that like I want to go. I know they're doing it here in the United States as well.
But I was like, ours that hasn't even started yet though.
No, they haven't even started construction on the ones here in the United States yet. But it's like, I want to go to Japan now so bad. I wasn't even going to watch the direct because I knew it was just going to be about the park in Japan. It was just going to make me be like sad because I'll never be able to go to it. But they're opening 2 here in the United States. One in California. I think it was in California.
Let me guess. East Coast, West Coast?
Yeah, it's an East Coast, West Coast thing.
Well, thanks for nothing, Nintendo.
Because I think there's a Universal Studios in Texas somewhere as well that they could have done
I stand by my thanks for nothing comment.
So yeah, it's Orlando. I think it's Orlando and Hollywood, if I remember correctly. But yeah, like, there's so many things, and one thing that they did, Miyamoto was doing this whole tour of the park, and they do this like visual illusion thing where you start off in a tunnel, and by the time you get down to the end of the tunnel, it's like you've shrunk into mini Mario. So the bricks are all so much bigger than you, and they're all above your head now instead of like floating right around eye level. Um, and so there'll be some times where you have to kind of jump to touch any of the blocks. Um, because one of the things that you can do is you have this app on your phone that you will have open while you're walking around the park. And as you do things in the park, you'll get coins that I assume you'll be able to do something with. Um, and so it's like if you see a coin block somewhere, if you hit the bottom of the coin block with your fist, it'll give you a coin. Or if you solve a puzzle like that Koopa Troopa puzzle thing, you'll get a bunch of coins and stuff like that. So it looked like it's every Nintendo fan's dream to actually like it's like you're in the Mushroom Kingdom doing all of the things you've been doing in video games for 30 years.
They have to have 1-1 set up there somewhere in some style, right?
Oh gosh, I really hope they would. That would be so much fun to do. So much fun to
It
do.
would. It really would.
So, and like they're in one of the restaurants, it's a Toad Cafe, and they've got these like video monitors on the walls, and it's like you can see into the kitchen, and the toads are cooking all of your food, and it gets brought out to you. Like,
I didn't get to see in this. I got home late, so all I got to see was the Bowser's Castle part at the end,
yeah.
and I did get to see. Oh, so the food thing sounds awesome, but what I got to see, Miyamoto's outside. He's talking about the stuff, and you get to see a Shy Guy walking behind him up on the hill,
Hmm.
and you can see the outfit stuff on his head just bobbing up and down. You know, that little part that stretches back for the whatever it is they wear.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that's bobbing up and down. It's
Yeah,
like a physical
and,
object.
and his arms move
Yes,
as
the little
well.
nubbly arms are. It was adorable.
Yeah. A lot of people, the first thing that they do is, when you go into the park, you go through a warp pipe, and they actually talked about we have never seen the inside of a warp pipe before, so we went through all kinds of discussions about what the inside of this pipe would look like. And then you get to the end of the pipe, and you're in the little like foyer of Peach's castle, and there's a Bob-on Battlefield painting on the wall, and
You know, someone's gonna try to jump into that.
oh,
That's how
but
you
it's
get kicked
also
out of the park permanently, but it's gonna be worth it.
it's also one of those like lenticular things. So if you look at it from one angle, you're seeing bombs, and if you look at it from another angle, you're seeing something completely different.
Ooh.
Um, so, like, this is the perfect amusement park for me. I would have so much fun in the Nintendo amusement park, and it's going to be forever before I'll ever get a chance to go.
I do like that Bowser's Castle is a Mario Kart course
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
and you wear AR glasses, and if you get like high score or something, you can get a special trophy that is just Universal Studios or whatever the place is
Hmm.
specific. But they also had like all the Mario Kart trophies on a wall in there.
Yeah. Like I know there are tons of like little hidden Easter eggs and things from Mario games.
It's gonna be
All of
crazy to actually get to see all the stuff that's there, man.
Yeah, yeah. So
Like, I mean, could you imagine seeing like a Yoshi thing that you can ride around in there?
that'd be crazy. Yeah, I want to go so bad, but I know I will never be able to get to Japan to go. So I have to wait for the ones here in the United States. So
It's gonna be it's gonna be crazy once that place opens.
yeah, it is, and the lines are gonna be huge for a long time. Like this is the first type of amusement park that could rival Disney, I think, for a lot of people. Maybe like the Harry Potter one is one, maybe, but this one is gonna
Yeah.
be insane.
You know,
So,
the Harry Potter one
uh,
was riding the hype of the books and the movies because they're all releasing around that time, you know.
yeah,
This is a thing that's like based on what 35
a
years of
35-year-old video game franchise.
Yeah, so we're talking 35 years of hype right here. Take that, Harry Potter. Get that crap out of here.
So yeah, can't wait to finally be able to go to one of these places. But that will be it for the show this week, Ethan.
All right, we got
So,
to end with some good news there, at least.
yep. So don't forget 8:30 p.m. Central on Wednesday night. We are doing the Among Us stream. If you can, come join us, play the game with us. I think we're gonna have a ton of fun. But thank you very much, Ethan, for being here.
Remember, Tony's always acting sus.
That's probably true. If you want to reach out to us, we have new ways to do so. You can email us at procedurallygeneratedent@gmail.com. If you like what we do, you can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/pgent. Patreon supporters get the video version of the podcast a day early. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/progenint. Check out our YouTube channel, and we still have that famous Facebook group where you can interact with us on a daily basis as well.